Welcome everyone. We are going to do a role play right now, and with me here, Alex. Alex, welcome and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having me, Gerald, and yeah, excited about this roleplay.
The goal of this role play is to show you what value selling is all about. And we will go through the structure you learned right now in the previous steps and show it on practical examples. First, we will do the role play, and then in the next step, we will analyze the role play that you really take the most out of it. For that sense, Alex is the buyer, I'm the seller, and we are more than happy to kick this off.
Let's go.
Alex, welcome, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Gerald.
My name is Gerald, we are from Kickscale and very happy to chat with you today about sales. You mentioned there are some urgent topics for you, and very grateful that we could invite you here to our office.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about the topic as well. We have some issues to solve, so let's go.
How did you find the way here to the office?
It was pretty straightforward. They are very well connected, central, so no issues there.
Yeah, it's nice. We took it here for Landstraße, U3, so in Vienna in the center, which is very good. Yeah.
Perfect for sales meetings.
Alex, tell me a little bit, what brought you to us? What's driving you? What's the current situation you are in?
Absolutely. So we're a company that's growing heavily. We are receiving every year a new investment and more. This year also we are doing this right now and going to the final round.
And Alex, just sorry for interrupting. I just take some notes here. I hope this is okay for you too.
Fine.
Perfect. Just that I remember everything. Yeah, perfect.
And we want to scale our sales team. We want to sell more. I think everyone wants that. And we need help in doing that, as none of us from the co-founders are real experts on that. So we are looking really for expert coaching, expert advice on how to scale our sales team and introduce some new processes there.
Very nice. May I ask, how does your sales team look like today?
It's around 5 people that we have, and they are all of them quite experienced, I would say. All of them have done some deals. But we do not have currently a head of sales. We had this position before. Currently there is no one in that position. And we see that there needs to be some more structure into the sales team. So those 5 people are doing a great job, but we want to introduce the structure because we plan to hire more. And we need that. Otherwise it's going to be very chaotic.
And you mentioned like 5 people, and congrats by the way on securing the investments, growing really nicely. So it's a good sign, yeah, especially in these market terms and conditions to grow. Congrats on that side of things. You mentioned 5 people in sales, which is great, mostly experienced people, which is also a good sign. What challenges do you see today?
They're all doing very different things. So all of them have their own process, so to say. On that side, and there is no unified process which everyone follows. This is for us a big challenge going forward.
And why is this such a priority for you, or what do you think is the problem out of not having a unified process?
My worry, my fear is that when we hire 20 more people, when we get the investment, when we scale this team truly to a global sales team, we would not have the capacity and the process in place to manage those people properly. And this is a big fear, as this might be a hurdle for us to grow more.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the big fear is hiring but then not having the processes in place. And this is obviously challenging because then you are hiring but probably the people are not as efficient as they might be, right?
Exactly, like we don't have any problem in hiring, I think. That would work really well, but introducing the processes and the right tools to those people, this is something where we are really afraid of. We've never had training before at our company. It's mostly, as mentioned, experienced people who brought their knowledge with them. So really worrying how we're going to manage those influx of people when they come next year.
Okay. When you look at half a year, 1 year in the future, what would be your ideal scenario look like? What would you like? Obviously having 20 plus people, yeah. Have you already thought of structuring them? How are you going to structure these people?
Absolutely. So we want to have at least 10 people in an SDR team, in a sales development team, and the rest, so combined with 10 more that we want to hire, we want to really make sure that they are on the account executive side, on the deal side, closing deals that are being provided to them. But obviously, this needs some structure to work and not being chaotic. Because as you asked me, what's the perfect scenario for me? Perfect situation would be that those people, they know what to do. They go through some training and they really understand what to do from day one. And not being able to do that is a big fear of ours right now.
And what would the benefit of this be for you to the business?
That would mean that people will be productive. They will be productive. We would not spend too much time onboarding them. When we hired our experienced sellers, we didn't spend also too much time onboarding them, but there was no onboarding, so to say.
Yeah.
You know, it was at the beginning of our startup journey, so as you can imagine, no.
They worked with you, right? I guess, and were with you together, which is always the best school. Yeah, the best learnings. Yeah,
that's true. Not too much in place to onboard them, but at this point, that's not feasible anymore. We need an onboarding, because when you onboard 20 people, if you don't onboard them correctly, it would be a nightmare.
So that means also what you experience right now already a little bit, if I'm hearing that, is that the onboarding is not structured and takes also a long time, I guess, for getting the people productive.
I would say so, yeah. Right now it's about talking with other sellers in the sales team. So if we hire someone new, we haven't had a big hiring wave, I would say so. We hire individual people, and if we hire someone, they would be paired up with one of the already working salespeople, and they would give them the more or less A to Z of what they need to do. But we realize that this also is highly specific to each individual seller, and we feel like it's time for a standardized process in place.
May I ask you, what's the quota right now of your sales team? So are they hitting the quota? How does this look like with their revenue goals?
So I would say 2/3 are hitting the quota. 2/3 are managing to hit 90% and more of the quota every year.
Meaning like 3 people right now or so?
Yes, exactly. 3 people, I would say, are hitting the quota. The other 2, it depends. There have been some years, so they've been working with us for 5 years now, almost all of them. There have been some years where they are performing really well, some years, like this year now, as you now know, the whole situation, not performing so well. So this is also a secondary worry for us, to make sure that the people we hire are as productive as those 3 people and not as the other 2.
So if I hear you correctly, really making everyone ideally productive to a certain level, right?
That would be ideal. That would be ideal.
What are the 3 people doing differently than the other 2 people?
Very good question. I am not 100% sure. I think they have found their own way of selling, and their own, so they're very well integrated into the industries. They're talking to the people they're talking to. So I think they have a lot of insight into the sales that they're doing, and I think this is helping them. But I cannot pinpoint also very exactly what they are doing that is like striking out them better than the others.
That's what we look into today as well, hopefully, and see how we can fit there. Yeah. You mentioned structure and process. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you are very successful. You built up the team, you got money, you hired these 5 salespeople. 2/3 are productive, 3 are very productive, 2 are somehow productive. Yeah. So I think you did already a good job. Yeah. What do you see as structure and processes? What would you envision?
I envision that every person who's working in the sales team knows day by day what they need to do. There is no hesitation as to what tasks are coming next or what's next on the plate. They all know what they need to do, and it's always the same things with new tactics that they apply to achieve those things. As mentioned, right now it's very ad hoc. Everyone is doing kind of their own thing, but I want to standardize that because I want to have people closing deals and people generating meetings. Right now, everyone is generating their own meetings, reaching out and so on. Someone is posting on LinkedIn, for example, expanding like an influence base and so on. But I want to make sure that everyone is doing the same thing so that we reach the same results, and if not, we can clearly see where the issue is.
So you really mean like the specialized functions, yeah? Having that SDR, AE, someone closing the deal, someone opening it up, if I hear you correctly. Yeah?
Yes.
What would you think is the positive business outcome of that? What do you think will change? If let's assume you have here now also the 5 people in general, yeah, who are doing the SDR work, like opening up deals, also closing deals. How do you think it would change if we say we have 1 or 2 people specialized only in generating meetings, getting that up and running? and having like 3 or 4 people closing deals, or the other way around, however you think it might be better. Yeah?
I think it would provide more focus. I think it would provide more focus because right now what I see is that even though some people are successful, their focus is divided between different responsibilities. Like, do they reach out to new business, to new leads, or do they actually focus on the existing pipeline and work there? So this is something which I want to avoid going forward. I want to make sure that everyone has their one focus, be it focusing on the pipeline or focusing on new business, and that way everyone is very clear on what they need to do. That way also it's very easy for you to, as a seller, or as a person in the sales team, to take your time and divide it properly for the things that really matter. And positive business outcome for me would be that we convert more deals to closed won, and we generate more new business. So with this new investment that we are taking a huge responsibility towards our investors that we need to grow. We've promised that, so we need to do everything possible to do that.
How is the conversion rate today? Roughly, if you had an estimate.
Roughly, I would say going into the pipeline, 30 to 40% would actually end up closing.
So once there was a meeting happening, and then
once we qualify the opportunity, going to the full close is around 30 to 40%, I would say.
Okay, that's very nice, And this is, do you have some differences here by the sellers as well? Do you know that if one seller is higher, the other one lower? How does this look?
It's really random. At some points there is 1 or 2, I would say, stellar sellers who are also working, I would say, have this focus, working in one specific industry and so on, where they have a bit higher close rate, but more or less it's the same around the board.
What would you like that this number should be?
Ideally double.
Okay, well, that's a huge goal. I know the industry standards a little bit. And with 50, 60, you are really 50% is very, very good. If you close every second opportunity which was qualified at the very beginning, then closing that. So okay.
That would be for us ideal, and it would prove that we are ready to go to market in a proper way.
So 2x the conversion rate in that sense. Okay. Very, very nice. So just to summarize it, also for you, what I heard, right? It seems like that right now there is some structure missing. It's still some things going randomly. There is no framework in place where new sellers come in and hit the ground running, so to say. If I take that correctly, it takes still a long time for onboarding, and 3 sellers out of 5 are really on quota, but 2 are not performing that way, and mostly because there was no training happening, there was no unified process, with the negative consequences that you mostly leaving revenue on the table, because the 2 sellers are not performing, they are not on quota. Even the metrics, 30 to 40% conversion rate, looks quite good, to be honest with you. But still, obviously there can be always some improvements. And when I hear you correctly, you want to go towards hiring more people. You mentioned 20 plus people, which is a huge hiring plan, so congrats on that side too. And you need a structured onboarding program for that, to not burn money at the end of the day, because you want that your people from day one on know what to do and how to do it, and that's where we are laying here the groundwork,
Absolutely, that's true.
Any other things from the metrics point of view? You mentioned one very important thing is the 30 to 40% conversion rate. May I ask what's also the revenue goals in doubling your revenue, or how does this look like? Your growth goals also for next year?
So this year we're on track to double our revenue from last year,
congrats.
which is going great. But obviously we need to continue with that trend. So there is no room to slack. With the new investment, with the new investors that we have attracted, we need to prove that we are ready to double down even more. So next year we need to 2x or 2.5x if possible, and then going further from there. We want to make sure that this happens year over year.
And obviously the more people you add, the more challenging it will be, because you start from a bigger base already.
Absolutely.
Does this summary make sense to you when we talked about all of these things? And I also note down here, like really 2x in revenue, Have you already made some thoughts what you need to get there? You mentioned at the very beginning sales trainings, you mentioned processes, the right base. Yeah, what do you have in mind there?
So we've been exploring a couple of opportunities to hire a sales coach. So someone already experienced in the area who can provide really good value, good knowledge to the people. But we haven't decided on anyone or any structure yet, to be honest. It's just the idea we've been having on the team.
So you are aware that one requirement would be for sure training the team. Yeah.
Yes.
To make a base, to build up the processes, train them with the right tools, with the right mindset, and so on. Yeah.
Make sure that everyone is on the same level right now, because right now we are not confident that this is the case, and we want to make sure everyone has the same amount of knowledge provided to them.
So as I'm hearing you, this is very important, the same level obviously as you want that everyone performs, which I can understand, because when the sales teams are differently performing in an organization, you know, someone is achieving quota, someone not, it can be a challenge for them, yeah, especially for you as a business leader, because people get frustrated, yeah.
Absolutely,
yeah.
That's the case.
Anything else here, what you thought of already, which might help you getting that?
So we've been exploring also some training software, but we haven't found anything, to be honest, concrete, just some suggestions from fellow colleagues and friends who've had experience with that. But we haven't found anything very specialized to the topic itself. So there is some software kind of that goes around into that, but not really so much. So I would say the sales coaches are preferred go-through. If we're going to compare both of them, as there we have at least a bit more confidence that this is going to work out.
What's important to you in a sales coach? What's like you mentioned, bringing all on the same level, but what's important?
Number one, that they have the experience and knowledge to back that up. That absolutely, I want to see a good track record. So we are giving money, we're hiring someone to really get that. But I also want that person to have a good interaction with our team. I want really that they spend the time and explore everyone's strengths and weaknesses, and helps them amplify their strengths and adapt to their weaknesses. That's 100% what I need in that person.
So these are like the two things: one, experienced, someone who is really experienced, and what I note down here as well, the interaction in terms of the coaching that they get individually to them, and so on and so forth.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Very nice. Alex, are you willing to hear what we can offer to get you from where you are today, with the 5 people, with your ambitious growth plans, hiring 20 plus people and doubling your revenue also in 2023? This is a great journey. Yeah. So congratulations already on that journey. It's a very interesting and nice journey. And you mentioned already like the problems with long onboarding. 2 people are not hitting quota, which you want to transform into know what to do. Yeah, that the people know what to do and the people are productive faster, that you obviously hit your 2x goal, which is the overall goal also for your investors, right? If I hear that correctly, because that's also one thing to making the investors happy, yeah, and for sure with happiness hitting the numbers, yeah. I totally get that, yeah.
Anything that you have to offer, I'll be happy to hear. Anything that goes into that, solving that problem, for us it's a burning problem, so solving that problem, I'm open to any suggestions.
How big would this problem be if we are not going to solve it?
I would say most probably really big. So for me, there exists no scenario where I don't solve it. Okay. So it needs to be solved 100% before the end of Q1 next year, because when people are going to be coming in, when we're going to be having this huge hiring wave for us, this needs to be on the table. Otherwise, we would fail.
Yeah, totally. May I show you how we do it?
Please do so.
Alex, thanks first of all for the time, yeah. And as you mentioned, getting from this journey from where you are today with the 5 sellers not hitting quota towards a really huge sales team, this is a journey a lot of our customers also go through, yeah. We know that as we work together with B2B software as a service companies in that field. How we do it? We combine these approaches. You mentioned you looked already into training software, you looked into sales coaches, yeah? What was the problem with the training software you looked into?
It was not specific, it was not really to the point, to be honest, on that topic specifically.
Yeah. We see that sometimes as well. That's why we offer you a software with playbooks. We call them playbooks. It's like step-by-step instructions. What you mentioned, everyone should know what to do on a daily basis. This is playbooks, or these are playbooks. And these playbooks you can assign to your team. And we have a bunch of playbooks, not only from one coach, because you mentioned a sales coach is something you look into, especially someone who is experienced. We have multiple sales coaches in our platform. What does this mean? You get video training playbooks, how an ideal day of an SDR looks like, how to prospect, how to do sales meetings, how to do cold calling, because these questions will arise, especially if you hire junior people as well. And you get these playbooks from various coaches who are the expert in that field. Like you mentioned, experience of a coach is important. We see that as well. This is one of the most important parts. If a coach is not experienced, it's a problem. People get these trainings to ramp them up faster, that they know what to do. You even can customize these playbooks towards your needs, or we can do that for you. And in addition to that, you get coaching as well, like an individual one-on-one conversation with your whole team, with your sellers individually, however you'd like.
So this interaction, it's very important for me, can be there to your software.
Yes, this can be. So first of all, the interaction happens, we do an analysis of every seller beforehand. That means they get the questionnaire and we identify their weaknesses, their strengths, their personality traits, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Secondly, they get playbooks based on their needs. Like if someone is an SDR and is afraid of cold calling, that's a huge problem to you. So we need to help these people to get to a certain level. Ideally, you have someone who is not afraid of cold calling, but out of my experience, I know this is just the case. People are afraid of cold calling, so we need to help them. And the third part is there are quizzes to check that and have the interactivity. And in addition to these three areas, we come in as well with a personalized approach, which means coaches, our partner coaches, and we come in and do these interactive sessions with the team as well.
Okay. And those playbooks, what topics do they cover? Will they cover the topics we discussed this today?
The playbooks, and this is really the big differentiator, I would say, against competitors of ours, especially training software. The playbooks come in various categories. That means for SDRs, for BDRs, for AEs, for closing the deals, for opening up the deals, exactly what you mentioned, they come into different areas. And this is what playbooks are covered. I can also give you a list of all the topics we have, but it really comes from what is sales mindset over value selling, MedPick, like how you qualify a deal, how you hand over the deal, how you close it, and so on and so forth.
So as far as I understand, every salesperson will get what's relevant for them.
Exactly. You can decide, obviously, if you want that the sales people have a common base, which I strongly recommend, like having, hey, we want to have sales mindset, sales 101, how to do sales meetings. We roll that out to everyone, but after that phase, every seller can get individual playbooks. Because some seller is better in whatever, LinkedIn communication and email communication than in calling. So this person, we want to, on the one hand side, even improve further on LinkedIn or email and forgot about the calling, or bring them all also on the same line, because obviously calling you have to do as well as a seller. It's very important.
That's true. That's true. It sounds pretty promising to me, to be honest. So more or less, as far as I understand, going over this sales coach and providing this as a software kind of.
Exactly. And companies, similar companies like you, also within the range you mentioned, like 50 to 100 employees, do that already with us. So there are several companies working together here, and we enable them exactly with that model to achieve the metrics you mentioned, improving the conversion rate and hitting obviously the 2x revenue goals for you next year.
It would be great to hear their experience as well and see what they think, how they've developed. That will help us a lot to see the benefit of using it ourselves as well.
More than happy to provide that to you. Is there anything else open from your side except of the proof points here, like providing you with case studies, and we have to bring that right here, that you have that,
No, this sounds really good, and most of this material is already in that platform, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is also one big differentiator, the material comes with it. So you can really see ourselves as an in-house sales academy.
Okay.
Where you license all the content already and you get the content from experts, so your sellers get to a certain level of training. And you can even certify them over and over again. We have there 5 levels in different levels. Yeah? So there is a baseline level, there is an intermediate level, an expert and master, and so on and so forth. And depending on where your sellers are, they fit into several categories or into one category.
That would be perfect. That would be perfect. If all of those topics, the onboarding, the process, the trainings, can be addressed to your platform, I'll be definitely interested to hear and see more.
And when shall we start, Alex?
Next month.
That sounds very good. Yeah, I will give you all the details. Yeah, on that side of things, and we can get this set up for you. Yeah, we have still Q1 to build everything up, giving you the introduction to the existing teams, and then once you start rolling out. Roll that out for the further team, and then everything is ready and we take it on there.
Perfect. That would be very nice too.
Alex, it was a pleasure.
Me too, thank you.
Thank you as well. Have a great day.
You too, bye.
Bye. Thank you very much for listening here. Alex, thank you first of all for this great role play. As always, was a lot of fun. I hope for you too.
Yeah, for me too, thank you.
And for you in the next step of this playbook, we are now going to analyze what we talked about. I have written here a bunch of comments. You will get these comments obviously as well. And these comments range from the current situation to the desired future situation with the negative consequences you talked about and the positive business outcomes. And I hope you heard all the different things, how we walked through the value framework, through that concept. And I used obviously some of the questions we prepared beforehand. I prepared beforehand. Alex didn't know these questions, but you were a very good buyer. Yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you.
And taking that on. And even with the metrics, and at the end you even heard how we do it better than the sales coach and the training software he mentioned, as well as what are the proof points. Yeah? On the proof points, I think we could even dive a little bit deeper. This is then case studies, metrics, and so on and so forth. And I'm more than happy to analyze that. I hope you learned here something, and as a hint, role plays like we do it together, I love to do that because here you learn the most, and if you analyze the role plays as well, you can apply that for your next sales call. Take care and let's analyze this role play in more details. Bye bye.
Thank you, bye.